Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to our Founders Conversation, March edition, part 4. My name is Kathy Karaoke, coordinator with Founders Profit Academy, FPA, which is a community within Small Founders Association. So at FPA, we help business owners grow, scale, and thrive through our specialized coaching framework. In my role, I support our licensed training coaching programs where we provide the tools and support entrepreneurs to reach their full potential. Today, we are excited to dive into a critical topic for SMEs, which is cash flow management, ensuring business sustainability. Remember, throughout for March, we were talking about the smart financial strategies. We had part 1, then now we're in part 2, we had part 3, today we're in part 4. So previously in our part 1, where we had a physical founders hangout on the 6th of March, which was graced by Mr. Joel Coril, Head of Retail and Investments, Old Mutual Investments Group. We had Mr. Martin Waweru, one of our SFA partners and managing partner of Nitram Advisory. And then we also had Patricia Mboro from APSA, who's the SME cluster manager. So our conversation on that particular day centered on smart accounting, smart credit, and smart investing. And some of our takeaways as regards smart accounting was you needed to build a financially strong business. And one of the key takeaways were smart accounting is not just about compliance, but about making data-driven decisions that drive profitability. The speaker of the day, Mr. Martin Waweru, emphasized that as a small business, the first ledger can be your bank account or the mobile statements. When it came to smart credit, Patricia Mboro emphasized that accessing and managing business loans and being told that credit is a tool and not a trap, when used strategically, it fuels growth and expansion. She reminded the business owners that responsible lending and management of the life cycle of a loan are key in having a positive relationship with your bank. Also, she also told us to remember that having a borrowing history helps in developing the creditworthiness of your business. When it came to smart investing, Mr. Joel Coril talked to us about growing and protecting wealth. The key takeaways were investing is about growing wealth wisely. He emphasized that we need to diversify, mitigate risks, and stay informed. He also told us that we need to know the various asset classes in order of liquidity and understanding alternative investments that can be used to extend the life of you, the entrepreneur, and the business. When we came to part 2 was talking about budgeting basics, building a financial plan for success. The key takeaways, which our speaker, Eva Githuku, told us was, remember that a budget is simply knowing your income and allocating expenses based on this income. You need to have a financial plan that's divided into goals that can be long-term or short-term. Those need to plan for the future. That means planning ahead based on your business cycle and scale. You needed to be able to monitor and adjust where necessary. Remember, you cannot track what's not happening. She also emphasized that savings are key in helping the business scale for emergencies as well to be used as a credit backup. And she also told us that credit is a tool, if well understood, can be used well. Part 3 covered understanding financial statements to secure business funding. The key takeaways were 1, understanding the financial statements, which were 3, There was the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statements. So the income statement, which was to just show your income, what you're left with after taking away the sales less expenses, your balance sheet, which shows what you own, your assets versus who or who you owe, the liabilities. Then, of course, the cash statement, which was just the movement of money in the business. When it came to dealing with the lenders, she told us what they look for and what they're keen to ascertain as regards your business. So one of them she mentioned was your pricing margins, how much equity yourselves have already put into the business. And then she also told us we need to know the importance of building a relationship with the lender way before you approach them. So she gave us some examples of attending some events where the lender is, because this also helps develop the interactions with them. And she also emphasized the need to be prepared with facts and general information as regards your business. So as we delve in today's topic, as I've mentioned, which is on cash flow management, ensuring business sustainability, we are joined by Martin Mawero. Martin Mawero, as I mentioned earlier, was one of our speakers in part one. Today he joins us. So Martin is a managing partner for Nitram Accountants Africa LLP. So Martin is a certified public accountant of Kenya with over 17 years of experience, with a lot of expertise in business incubation, SME growth, financial management, and entrepreneurship. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship and certification in enterprise development from Strathmore Business School. As founder of Nitram Accountants, he leads in strategy implementation, staff development, and service delivery in audit, tax, and capacity building. His experience includes IFRS implementation, project management, ERP systems, budgeting, and business analysis. He has also contributed to county government capacity building, budgeting, procurement, and performance assessment, including supporting the World Bank's Capacity Performance Grant Initiative. So join me in welcoming Martin Mawero as he joins us in today's insightful conversation. Martin, karibu sana. You need to unmute.
Wow, very deep.
Yeah.
How things we do, we never think will never be mentioned at one point. I'm grateful to be on this platform just to uh, uplift the knowledge that our people have as they run their businesses. And today topic quite interesting, and I look forward that we'll send a message home for capacity building. Thank you.
Karibu sana. You
Asante.
might add your volume a bit.
Okay.
I think that's better.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's better. That's a bit better. All right, so let's start off. So we'll start off with understanding financial sustainability. So probably, Martin, you can mention to us some of the There's a bit of echo there. You can hear me well?
Yes, now I can hear you. Okay,
Don't move. I think when you start moving is when things are falling apart.
noted.
So probably you might be forced to stay still even with everything else. It's only the only thing that will be moving will be your vocal cords, I guess.
Okay,
And probably of course your eyes. Yeah.
sound. Well noted.
Okay, so I was talking about understanding financial sustainability. So I wanted you to take us through some of the key components
Mm-hmm,
of a healthy cash flow
mm-hmm.
and why they're important for business sustainability.
Thank you, Catherine. And maybe before I deep dive to this question, we have even integrated financial reporting in the larger scale, whereby now we have a requirement by international financial reporting standards, FRS 1, S1 and 2, sustainability reporting 1 and 2, that is then in response to climate change. So, uh, besides the big businesses, um, on the large businesses, talking about sustainability and what is it that we are talking? What does the word sustainability mean? It means that the business is able to live as a going concern and not only meet the expectations of its promoters, but even any other stakeholders in the business. That is the bigger picture of business sustainability as now envisaged in the integrated reporting. And, uh, and this is a global requirement that even we have the roadmap of compliance that by 2027, those large businesses, especially the publicly listed companies, will have to comply with this. Now, come to SME space. Talking of business sustainability is you started off a business, and they have always mentioned that once you start up a business, if it exits, if it hits 5 years and above, then the chances are it will be successful. If you don't close before those 5 years, then you count yourself a resilient person in business. But then what makes the business sustainable is the ability to meet your obligations as and when they fall due. Because there are two ways of business, there are two types of business. One, service business, and number two, where you deal with goods. A goods trading business is quite a challenge because you must have capital and the goods must move to the consumer. So there is a lot that is involved in that. And especially where you buy to resell compared to manufacturing, whereby then you are the one who determines the source of raw materials. One of the easiest business to start off and tricky to deal with is a service business, like my practice, like a lawyer, like all professional services. They are businesses and they are easy to start because it requires your knowledge, the intuition, and conviction that you can sell out your service. You see, you have to win the buyer's confidence that you are qualified, you are competent to deliver a service, compared to where you go to the soko and see the maembe are nice, cabbages big and compacted. So you will say, this is nice, it is worth the value. For service, it is easy to start but challenging to sustain because it takes that self-confidence to get into the market. So for a healthy business or for a sustainable business, it means that number one, you're able to sell by understanding your business model. And there is a difference between a business model and a business plan. A business model is mastering your business, getting to know what are your products, what do you sell, what are your key products or the service, who are your suppliers, what are the means you deliver the service, what are the key costs that you incur during the process of business, and who are your customers, and all that. So, uh, the components of a healthy cash flow is, to me, the bottom line is ability to meet your obligations as and when they fall due. Number one, are you able to pay salaries as they fall due and on time? Salaries
Mhm.
and the statutories. Number two, are you able to pay your suppliers, the landlords, those who supplies office stationaries or machines or name them, the key suppliers to your business? Are you able to have timely credit period, and when the credit period falls due, you're able to pay? On the other hand, after sales, are you able to collect your debt and on time? Those are the very key components of ensuring that then you have you are able to collect your debts on time, you are able to pay your debts on time, and you have, for example, enough or sufficient, not enough, but sufficient working capital. That means then you have a healthy cash flow. The importance of that is that then it ensures the scalability of the business. And if you're able to meet your obligations on time, you gain or you win your suppliers and other business support stakeholders confidence, and so they are able to partner with you, and that is an element of towards business growth. And business growth means you have a positive going concern, and so the sustainability of the business in a nutshell. Thank
Mm.
you.
Yeah, I like that part when you've mentioned about being able to actually meet your obligations. That's a question that entrepreneurs are usually asked: is your business sustainable? And usually there's a pause. I mean, there's usually a pause on that part. Now we know how to answer better.
Yes, yes,
Okay, so I think you've mentioned that. The next question you've sort of picked on it. So
yes.
tell us, what financial habits or practices can small businesses adopt early to ensure long-term sustainability?
Uh, Financial habits or practices.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Number, you can't run business without records that gives you the information about your business, however small it is. Remember where we are coming from. We said that as a business grows, as an owner startup, you start by being everything. You are the business owner, you are the manager, you are the messenger, name them. But as you expand, then you need an assistant. So you must track the records, you must track your expenses, so that then in future you're able to say what was your seed capital, what what have you put in as capital injection, so that then you have been able to run the business. This can only be informed out of the proper book of accounts that have been maintained. So habits or a practice that small businesses must adopt, one and the primary, is proper books of accounts maintained. Whichever way you maintain, you must track your transactions, both income and expenses.
And expenses. I like that you've mentioned about the equity,
Mm-hmm.
because that's also another question where entrepreneurs normally goes. When you ask, so much have you put in the business? Then you're trying to think, "Hi,
Mm.
those are so many. No, maybe when those are many years ago, many months ago."
Yes.
And they forget that that is what is going to be used to actually calculate the worth of your business.
When you mentioned about equity, it's interesting that people may not, and especially the SME, where they
Mm,
ignore the professional advice, where you are supposed even to consider sweat equity. What
mhm,
is sweat equity? You are in your thoughts that brought about the idea. The
mm,
ideation. What is ideation? Ideation is when you sleep and say, I'll sleep over it. And then it hatches to a business idea. And that business idea is implemented. And that is where you even talk of you get patents right about your business idea, because then you can sell it and you can franchise it. So equity is not just the financial input, but it
mm.
also reflects the cost that would be equated to that business idea, and especially where it is innovative creativity that brought about, like in the engineering, coming up with the product. So even those formulas. So equity is not just financial. So yes, and you may have had the zero input, but what did it cost you? Even the value of the machine that you started up with, like somebody gave you a donation, that was equity because it gave you the platform to start up the business. So let's not just see the primary amount that you injected. And also something else that I've observed over time is where you look at the CR12. CR12 is that document of from business registration services, where you look
Yeah.
at the nominal share capital is 100,000
Mhm.
divided by 1,000 shares of 100 each. But when you look at what you have invested or you have put in, it's more than 100,000. So that is what we call shareholders contribution or shareholders capital.
Mm.
And this is kind of a loan to business, but has no recouping period. And it is always deemed to interest free. Yes, like
Yeah,
like
I won't fall
like
off.
like the amount you pay before even you make your first sale.
Mm-hmm.
The purchase of the laptop, for example, it was
Yeah,
worth 45,000. So the double entry
yeah,
of that is
yeah.
debit the assets, you credit the shareholders contribution. Maybe you got an assistant to help you and you paid this over time before you even made a quite sale. So
Yeah.
during the research and development of your business, all these injections, all these costs that you incur, they go towards
Mm-hmm.
capital. Yes,
Oh, wow. Never
yes. So
thought about that.
it is important to know what constitutes the capital.
Mm. Okay,
Great.
great. So let's look at another sustainability perspective.
Mm-hmm,
Um, how often
mm-hmm.
should small businesses revisit their financial plans to ensure alignment with changing circumstances?
How often should small businesses revisit?
We have mentioned here financial, not business plans, financial plans. Remember our money for the
Hey,
business is also
yes,
our money. My money, it's my money.
which is a failure to the entrepreneurs for not to separate their money from the business money. Because you could be having so much money in the bank, but it's not your money, it is supplier's money you are holding. And I've seen even when we scale up the businesses and you are now in the position of statutory deductions and VAT. You charge VAT 16%, but when you receive that amount, you don't want to pay. That's not your money. So when it is in the bank account, just know that that's not your money. And so the reason why you need to do proper books of accounts so that you're able to offset like input VAT against the output. So VAT on your purchases against the VAT on your sales, then you're able to pay the bank.
We seem to have
If
lost
we
you.
call, uh, I'm here, and a call was incoming.
Oh, yeah, we seem to have lost you. You might have to repeat that statement. You after you finish the VAT on purchases and then there was a VAT on sales, then
Mhm.
you disappeared.
Wow. I was mentioning about, do I remember the state? uh, about your differentiating the money that you have. So
Yes.
yes, I've seen the component of when we are doing compliance audits.
Yeah.
Yes, I was mentioning about management accounts.
Yeah.
Monthly management accounts informs the business on its ability to track the sales and collections, to track the expenses or payables, and kind of and once you track collection and payments of your payables, it then informs uh, the cash position of the business. And it is at that point that you would then get to know, do I need other financial plans to support my obligations? For example, having the need for a loan, or
Mhm.
maybe an overdraft from your financials, just to have a
Mhm.
fallback plan to meet your financial obligations. So
Obligations.
monthly would be quite important to have
Mhm.
a revisit of your financials. Then you can do quarterly,
Mhm.
that is a 3 months or 4 months. Then you can do half yearly, and then at February
Mm. Oh.
we call full. I'm on demand, so some calls are coming in.
No, we need to we want to hear more about sustainability. They should be listening. Actually, that is where they should be.
They
We
should be
should be
there.
part of the
I,
audience.
I agree. I agree. So sustainability in small businesses is all about showing your business going concern, that the management are not aware of any risk that would bring the business to a halt in the next near future, which is about 12 months period, the next 12 months reporting.
Mm.
Mm.
Now that you have mentioned that,
Yes.
how about taking us through how that financial sustainability would play in helping the business
Mm.
probably navigate unexpected financial outcomes? Um, Probably you'd explain this question using an example of
Mm-hmm.
some businesses that you have encountered or were called in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you had been with them very well as their business had been expanding and you could see the change. But now when
Mm-hmm.
they called you, now there was things have fallen apart. How would they
Well,
have probably stopped it, or probably how you assisted them to get back again on track?
uh, we go back, Catherine, to why do many people start business? Sometimes you lost your job, and so you thought that the side hustle is the solution. Then you, over time, maybe after some time, it is sustained, it met your bills. Then you needed assistance. Then, by God's favor, hard work, resilience, determination, it grew beyond what you thought. Then it then means that, and it requires that you need what we may call proper business systems, and putting the proper structures. And for that reason, then it would also require you to then start knowing what are the risks that face my business. So you do a widespread risk assessment, so that then you put in controls or measures that would then mitigate the risks, which a lot of SMEs have not put in place. And not just risks, and even how do you look into the risks and turn them to opportunities. So, for example, lack of proper books of accounts or proper accounting systems, and that's a risk. So the exposure it is exposes you. You are not able to give insights of your business going forward. Then it may even bring an element of non-compliance with the regulations, the laws. So the general compliance of the business is also a risk. So as we start off the business, you start then putting in the systems and structures, even developing policies that guide in your business development, so that then you are able to put in measures or controls that mitigate the occurrences that would affect the business. In view of that, then uh, and scaling up before you even scaling up into the primary business before diversifying. I've seen people who are very doing well and investing, diversifying and investing in the areas that it takes long to recoup the capital that or the investment injected. So for that reason, then I've seen people in like a travel business go to real estate. So travel business is cash liquid,
Yeah,
whereas you take the surplus or even that money to real
yeah,
estate. Real estate takes time to recover.
yes, it does.
So it eats into another business output. And for that reason, the first business falls, that then makes the second business not even to perform. So you can just sell it off, or you buy a loan, you get a loan, or you get an investor to put more capital. Otherwise, I would emphasize that once you master the business and your primary business is able to sustain itself, then you can diversify to any other business, because then there comes a time that you are not just that when you talk of a businessman or an entrepreneur, there's a difference, because an entrepreneur is that who sees an opportunity out of a need in the society, and if they have a solution, it doesn't matter what sector it is, they're able to provide. So you can be able, and that's how then you are not just that common quote unquote a business a startup. So when you master, you can do a variety of businesses. So you are an entrepreneur.
Thank you for clarifying that. So no more saying that you're a business person, you're an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. Yes,
Exactly.
so there's a
Mm-hmm.
difference.
There is, there is.
Um, Still on sustainability,
Mm-hmm.
are there specific maybe tools,
Mm.
systems you would recommend for tracking and
Mm.
improving financial sustainability?
Yeah. Catherine, when you sometimes you use big words in business, it brings an element of technicality. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that you should avoid, even when you are, for example, when we talk of finance for non-finance, it's
Yeah,
to avoid jargons.
yeah.
Jargon would mean that you're using words that are technical to others to understand what it is all about. Now, financial sustainability, uh, we said it is the ability to meet your obligations as and when they fall due.
Yes.
So that can only be informed if you have proper records keeping, whereby then you're able to know who are your debtors and how old are they. Are they 60 days? Are they 30 days, 60, 90, above 180?
Mm-hmm.
Whom do you owe? So the moment you did your posting of transactions, it then means that you're able to know you have not paid this for the last 60 days, and your agreement terms of credit are this. So we have what we call off-shelf solutions, and now we are even going cloud. Uh, those who had desktop solutions on the server based and all that, that is now coming to kind of it's being eliminated over time.
Mm-hmm.
So people are going cloud. So we even have those accounting um, solutions that are cloud-based that we can use a small business to track our records that gives now information for decision making. That way then we are able to track our business performance and whether we are able to negotiate for financial assistance from where that is required. I hope I've responded.
Yeah, you have responded, and then you sort of froze along the way.
What did you get? What did you get?
You mentioned some of the offshore solutions and the cloud. So I was waiting for you to give us an example of one
An
that
example
you
is such like
probably either have
Intuit.
helped.
Intuit QuickBooks is one of the
Yes,
user
I've heard that one. So
friendly. You get lost.
yes, and I wanted, yeah, and I think I wanted you to probably guide us in,
Mm,
are SMEs
mm,
reluctant to adopt this? So remember,
mm,
I am starting out. So at what point should I put in the system, knowing that I know Martin? I can call Martin to come and still do my books, right?
mm,
So do I install this and continue using, and then Martin comes and checks, or I leave it out to Martin to keep on doing? Because what I've experienced is I find that you don't put in the system. You keep on just saying the accountant is one who knows everything. Woe on to you when Marty
mm,
decides he has moved on to greener pastures. He's no longer dealing with the clientele,
mm-hmm.
our clientele of our books, which are all over the place. So that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm sticking to this particular question the way I am,
Mm,
because
mm-hmm.
I've seen, yes, they are available, but why
Mm,
the reluctant to digitize, especially on this financial bit of it, the sustainability part of it, the
mm,
dangers of not actually doing it early enough,
mm-hmm.
and always just relying on you, the
Mm,
accountant, also to come. And that is where we find there's a disconnect when we're
mm,
asking these questions. When you're being asked, what has been your equity in the business? How much is your business actually worth? Things like that. So that's what I wanted you to take us slowly. You have mentioned them, but
Mhm.
you have met them there because you're in that particular field. You know what you find there. How many SMEs have actually adopted what you're saying right now?
We all have what we call career growth and journey.
Mm,
I'm now transitioning the from the normal auditor, the traditional auditor of looking into figures. Then what I tell
yes.
my people that I work with, the figure belongs to the client. we can't change. We can't change. We can't change the
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah.
So our role is to give insight over those figures. What
Mm-hmm.
do they mean to the business? For example, I've always sensitized my people that I work with that public sector audit approach is totally different from private sector audit approach. Why? Public sector is more of compliance
Mm-hmm.
to rules and regulations that govern public financial management.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas private sector is more of we made profits, and both of them have a compliance element, but this of private is what exposure or what benefits did one of the maybe the directors or employees gain that did not meet the compliance requirement, for example, of tax deduction. What did you pay and you didn't do what was required to be done against that payment? But in the public sector, you can do things at the best, but you didn't follow the law. So, what then am I pursuing as a person in my career? I'm doing something on compliance regulations. So I don't just become a financial auditor. I don't just become an internal auditor. I become a compliance auditor
Mm,
within the business environment. And one of the areas that we are covering in this is culture of compliance.
mm,
So, what organizational culture have you put in place, you as the owner? So, have you then determined that even if you will delegate some of the responsibilities, what do you expect to be done? Because you put in that culture of compliance. So, if you never embraced record keeping and you have never seen the need of an accountant, so whether the accountant will be there or not, and you have never hid
mm,
the need for computerization or automation, even simple record keeping manually. So it is not in the accountant; it is in the owner of the business to put in the culture, to embrace to integrate the culture of compliance in the business all around, so that if today you can't pay 10,000 worth of VAT, worth of pay as you earn, even the time you'll be paying millions, you will not be
mm,
complying. So to me, it is to embrace the culture of compliance from the start. Then it will be easy then to scale up and to always adopt to the ever-changing business environment. Because today we are talking of this regulation, tomorrow another compliance. So do you have that culture of compliance? And then at the end of it, we embrace the ethical business, embracing ethics in business, such that then with ethics, you are able then to easily comply with any regulation that comes on board, and to also embrace what we may call best business practices. That way, you will win your customers' trusts, the brand recognition. With that,
mhm.
too, you are assured of business sustainability and growth.
Mm.
Mm.
That's an interesting perspective.
Thank you, Catherine.
That's an interesting perspective. Actually, when you've mentioned it now that way,
Mm.
I think then
Mm.
our program should be now focusing on the organization. You said organizational culture that embraces compliance. Very
Oh,
yeah, I like that
ah,
you have taken us through that.
most welcome.
Yeah. All right. As we wind up, what do you give us as our takeaway now that you are there in part one and now part four? Give us a takeaway on smart financial strategies.
Back to the business owners starting out. You see, we always talk of starting with end in mind.
Yes.
So, do you have a growth factor as you start?
Mhm.
So that then you will keep on embedding growth, and that culture of, of compliance is not just in you, but with others that you bring on board to your business. So they continue. So my takeaway is you may start out as from an outsourced consultancy basis just because
Mhm.
you want to embrace proper records keeping, so that your accountant, for example, whom you have outsourced the bookkeeping and accounting services, then can inform you that depending on where we are now, it is proper that we have a full-time accountant. And that accountant will come on board and continue with compliance and proper. So even when the full-time accountant comes and inform you that I need an assistance, it is out of the business performance that you are using business information for
Mhm.
proper decision making. And that can only be informed when we have proper systems to capture the business information. And today we can't talk of manual. We can only talk of simple automated solutions that it is easy to
Mhm.
use, and especially where it can easily be accessed. Right now, I'm not in Nairobi, but we are able to convert. So even if I have incurred an expenditure here, am I able to just capture that and send it maybe to the cloud? So embracing the
Yeah.
culture of compliance and embracing that we are in a never-changing business environment, then will help us to have the growth factor as we start off our businesses.
Wow. Thank you very much, Martin. That was very insightful. Our takeaway, especially now as we come to the end of our March edition on smart financial strategies. Um, Thank you for the nuggets. I hope that the small and medium entrepreneurs have had the conversation and are going to even start implementing and reaching out. So, thank you very much. So, we come to the end of this week's Founders Conversation, powered by SME Founders Association, where we connect entrepreneurs and professionals to money, markets, and mentors. Joining us is easy. Simply visit our website and become a partner for just 5,000 shillings, which unlocks access to valuable learning and networking opportunities. I've been your host, Catherine Karaoke. Until next month of April, Join us for more insights and strategies to grow your businesses. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.